My name is Amy Drake. Thank you for allowing this public comments. When you are in charge of others, you have a responsibility. There is much emotion involved in this issue, as we have witnessed again today. But along with it comes a huge amount of intelligence, reasoning, and appreciation for the heritage and preservation of this unique area. Before any final decision, please consider the responsibility and burden you accept with this office to plan for the future, ensuring Humboldt County remains a great place to live, work, and visit. These are your own words taken directly from the Humboldt County mission statement. Take into consideration the people of this county who are here permanently, who will choose this area for retirement, who will continue to call Humboldt County home after they are done collecting a paycheck, and especially those, like many of you and myself, whose families have lived in Humboldt County for generations. Ask yourself, is it okay to allow 40 million pounds of garbage to come to this county every week for the rest of your lives? And for most, if not all, of the rest of your children's lives? Is the promise of county revenue and the threat of county expenses what dictate the business of Humboldt County at the expense of the county's long-term future? Is it our personal responsibility as a county to bear the burden of a waste stream of millions of other people? Or is there a more efficient, effective, and environmentally responsible answer? The legacy of your terms in office will be closely tied to this issue, whether that is fair or not. Will you be the board who brought mega landfills to Humboldt County? Or will you be the board who stood and chose to protect the beautiful wide open spaces that you advertise to visitors and that we all call home? As the governing body for Humboldt County, it is up to you to be open and responsive to the needs of the community and work together for the benefit of all. I am borrowing words to say that sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same. Thank you.
He also took a county that was in the black, put it in the red. That would be on the list too. And we can still live in the black.
So they can still show their face wrapped in because of that. Right.
Hi, my name is Ellen Coons. I'm a citizen here in Humboldt County. I first had a question regarding the vote on November 2nd, and maybe I'm being ignorant here, but I don't know how that has changed this conversation since that vote from the citizens, and I was wondering if a lawyer or someone on the board could figure that out.
Well, I'm not clear what your question
Yeah, I'm not
is.
clear about the question.
So when the citizens voted, is my understanding to not allow out-of-state trash to come into our county to a certain percentage, correct? By 70%? How does that filter into this debate? And did that vote have any impact on this debate?
Well, I
I
can,
know, because this could have a legal hit on us later, so I'm going to let Steve.
yeah, that's a little bit vague, but I can tell you that because the conditional use permit was issued in 2007, in this case, that the initiative petition would not apply to that conditional use permit as it was issued in 2007. It's essentially grandfathered in. Now, it would have an effect on any other project that would be approved after November 2nd, 2010. But so, and I don't know if that directly answers your question, but that's
So is that why they're fighting so hard to get this cut back? Because it ended
And now,
Okay.
Um,
You have your turn, let's let her speak.
And in the same vein though, so the conditional use permit, it's my understanding then, the second vote, you guys unanimously decided to not allow the extension of the conditional use permit. That being said, it's currently not passed. The conditional use permit is currently not approved. Therefore, then we voted on November 2nd and said that we would not as a county allow this amount of trash to enter our county. Is my understanding. That has happened since the cup was initially denied by you guys. The extension was denied. Am I
Well,
misinterpreting
you
this?
should understand this too, that at the very beginning of this lawsuit, the judge entered an order which essentially stayed the decision of the Board of County Commissioners. So the conditional use permit that was issued in April of 2007, the action of the board essentially overturning the planning commission decision on that has been stayed. So the permit, as we sit here today, is still a good and valid permit until the court decides otherwise. That's the legal status of that.
Okay. Even though, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the regional planning committee had to have an approval from the board of commissioners, and that was never given.
The Board of Commissioners never held a meeting
To approve the regional planning commission's
to
approval.
address the CUP until that was appealed to us. Up to that point, the commissioners did not have a meeting to address that. That was the first time we addressed the CUP because it was appealed to us.
And I assume you're talking about the extension to the CUP.
Yes, that was denied, yes.
Is that a proper answer, Steve?
That's
That's
I
what I
believe that's
said.
I believe that's an accurate.
So I guess my comment would be that I personally think that this needs to be looked at again on a legal standpoint, as if you guys have given the full approval of the regional planning commission in the first place, if you had given that approval, and secondly, how our vote impacts that, and if this kid goes through. I'd also like to second a couple of other comments. I understand that an environmental impact statement is usually done by the government through NEPA, but there's no reason that a similar thing, not necessarily called an EIS, could not be done privately. And I believe that if you are going to sign some sort of proposed terms, that should be included, that a private party with environmental impact statement.
That can be done. That can just get an outside party contract to do. Does not have to be a government.
Exactly.
EIS.
And that can be.
And be requested that way.
I would also second the fact that it's silly to me that their inspections would only last for 5 years when they're going to be operational for up to 95. Then they should be paying for inspections every single year, once a month for 95 years versus the 5 years that's in this proposal. I would also make the recommendation that you should include in this, if you are going to, again, come to an agreement, which I would suggest. I mean, my personal opinion is that you guys go to court, but I understand you're in a rock and a hard place, and I'm glad I'm not in your position, to be honest with you. And so I appreciate the job you're doing, but there's also nothing in here that, let's say they do contaminate or pollute the water, why not include right up front that they have to pay for any costs of environmental impacts in this agreement?
That I would believe if we went forward would be part of our, I see it, I'm not speaking for the rest of you. That would be one item of many that would be in our first agreement to protect this county, if that's going to be
And
the
that they
case.
would pay damages to individuals as well as the county and future generations. So we're not in the same boat that was involved in right now with being
That's right.
And finally, I just want to second the second gentleman who came up. Again, I appreciate the work you guys are doing, but I do believe that you're not impartial judges, and that's through no fault of your own, but you're being sued right now as individuals. So I don't believe that it's fair to you to be able to vote on the best, what's best for the county. So
Yeah,
that's.
but I have a question because that's been brought up a number of times. If we don't vote for this,
You know, I think that ecology should have to hold back their lawsuit against you as individuals. I think that seems completely unjust to me personally. And then your five would
my personal opinion, that should have never been in there to begin with.
Exactly.
We're a governing body that work for the people.
Exactly.
We made, so I believe, the choice on our best information. That is not art. That is holding us hostage. That's my belief. But that hasn't happened, so we gotta move forward.
Those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Agreement. The second thing, I believe that Attorney Balkenbush does not represent the citizens of Humboldt County, and the advice that you have received has been based on not our needs, but the base needs of an insurance company, of a Nevada pool of counties. To equate his position, I would say as a court-appointed attorney for a DUI, he is not the best person due to conflict of interest, insurance, and NACO. You can get better legal advice, Dan and Darlene. Anyone who has been involved in this settlement and claims to be legally proficient does not represent Humboldt County citizens. We can do much better than this. This is not an example of negotiation.
Can I say one thing?
No.
I did seek outside counsel before all this started. What he told me was to go with the insurance thing, so it's not like I haven't already looked into that.
We can do better. We need the best legal minds, and we need those legal minds who are not representing others. We need somebody who is going to represent us. And again, if this is an example of the negotiations that come from an attorney for Humboldt County, we've been failed by you. Adam Alberti is currently a spokesman for Recology. His comment in regard to this agreement was, it is the best for both parties. His comment a year ago was, we won't jam it down their throats. We cannot depend on the NDEP to look out for us. Their failures are well documented. There have been 7 in the past 3 years where the federal government has either had to step in or local governments have had to take over the problems that NDEP has caused or neglected to cause. 7. The air quality permit is an example of their failure to protect all of us. If this doesn't go to court, we will never know who locally has been promoting this, funding it, and working for it. Our only hope of finding out who is doing us wrong comes from going to court. If it doesn't go to court, you gentlemen have failed us and generations to follow. Thank you.